Oh, here she is.
Good. Cheryl, you with us?
I am.
Good.
It took a few minutes for the Zoom to get going, but
Okay. All right. Well, I can only see one person at a time because we have the agenda up on the screen now. But I'm going to call the Walpole Select Board meeting to order on May 28th, 2020 at approximately 6:31 p.m. And our agenda is up on the screen. Fact TV is again filming and recording us tonight, and we are all in different locations. I'm Peggy Peshere, and the other two select people who are here tonight are Steve DeLessio and Cheryl Mayberry. Sarah Downing is in Town Hall, and Regina Borden is with us from another location. Once again, in accordance with our meeting by Zoom, I will be taking roll call votes. So Steve, I'll ask you to begin, please.
I make a motion to accept the accounts payable check register in the total amount of $50,846.31, 64 cents, I guess.
Oh, I messed up.
Checks issued 5/29/2020.
second.
All right.
It's 64 cents in the
It's
noted.
64 cents, not 31 cents. All right.
Yes.
And includes a payment to Health Trust of $41,660.64.
Cents.
Probably
Yep.
how that got in there. Are there any questions or comments about accounts payable screen? Hearing none, I will call for a vote then, please. And I'll ask Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Something else was intruding on my screen, filling it up. So the accounts payable are approved.
I make a motion to accept the payroll register totaling $25,601.08 for checks dated 5/29/2020 and the 9/41 payroll tax transfer of $5,092.41.
Second.
Thank you, Cheryl. Are there any questions or comments about the payroll register for this week? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Payroll register is approved.
I make a motion to accept the select board minutes of May 21st, 2020.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions about the select board minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
I vote aye. The select board minutes for May 21st, 2020 are approved.
I make a motion to accept the non-public select board session minutes of May 21st, 2020, and they shall remain sealed.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions about those minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
I vote aye, and the non-public select board minutes are approved and will remain sealed. Thank you.
I make a motion, actually, I recognize the committee reports of North Walpole Village Commissioners meeting of April 21st, 2020, and the North Walpole Village Commissioners meeting of May 19th, 2020.
Okay, thank you.
So acknowledged.
Acknowledged.
Yeah. We're going on to our excavation intents. May I have a motion to accept that, please?
I make a motion to accept the excavation intent for the New Hampshire DOT Route 12 project 14747. I believe it's being filed by Sergeant. Is that correct, Sarah?
Correct.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Yeah, it's for
The Route 12.
stabilization on
Stabilization
Route
project.
12 for the
Yes.
north, in the village. Okay, second.
Are there any other questions about this? This is a continuation of work started more than a year ago. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
They couldn't complete it last year.
Okay, hang on a
What?
minute. Somebody's bugging me. Are there any questions or comments about it?
Nope.
Let's call for the vote then, please. Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
And I vote yes as well, so the excavation intent is approved. All right, we have a building permit. Do you have that to flash up on the screen, Cheryl? Sarah?
Yep, let me move to, yes, we can put that up. And then,
This is a renewal of a building permit for Abenapagi Springs at Avery Lane. Is there a motion to approve this renewal of a building permit?
I move to approve the building permit 2014-10 for the renewal of Abenaki Springs Phase 1 and 2.
Is there a
It's
second?
map 12, lot 13, sublot 4.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments about this?
Sarah, what was the expiration date of the building permit?
go look.
We'll wait while she finds that. It's been being renewed annually, hasn't it been?
Yeah,
seems-
I wondered what the renewal date was originally supposed to be.
One of these slid because there was a site plan redone on it.
Well,
So
the
that-
last time we renewed it was in what time?
I have a 5/23/19 date in here, so it's very
Okay.
close.
Okay, so technically the building permit did expire, but it's based on the next available select board
Select board
meeting.
meeting.
Yep.
Because he had it in earlier than that, I'm sure.
Yep, okay. I'm ready to vote.
All right, good. All right, I'll call for the vote then. Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So the building permit is renewed for Abenaki Springs, map 12, lot 13, sublot 4. All right, let's go on to old business then, if you would put up, we have a letter of resignation from Justin Casarino, who is resigning from his position as the recreation director for Walpole. He's been with us, I think, for about 7 years. Is that correct? Well, here he says, given me
Here.
6 years, 6.5 years. He is going on to a new position, and I'd like a motion to accept his resignation, please.
I move to approve the resignation letter from Justin Casarino as the Walpole Recreation Director, effective July 19th, 2020.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments about it? I believe we're going to be interviewing next week for his successor. I think we have to accept this motion with accolades for how well he has developed the program over the years, how he's expanded it and created terrific programs that really run year round for this recreation area.
Fully agree.
I'm
Yep.
going to call
I
for,
agree. He's done a tremendous job.
he has, absolutely. I'll call for a vote. Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
and I vote aye, and we accept his resignation letter recognizing how successful he was in that position. The next item is the DOT letter, which talks about the bridge lighting. And I think Sarah has added the cost in here. Where did you find that cost? I was looking for it and I couldn't find it in some other things that we had.
It's in the original letter, which I don't have up here. I could find it.
Oh, that's all
It was
right.
in the original letter from Jason
Okay,
Tremblay.
Right, Jason's original letter.
okay.
So I guess the question is, do we continue to fight or we just pay the $3,700?
It's a lot of money. Where is it coming from? We haven't exactly budgeted it.
No.
Not just that, but if there's a problem with the lights, is it Walpole property, even though it's on the bridge, which is owned by the state?
I think they would expect us to keep them in good repair. since they never did.
I'd like to recommend we forward this to Lucy Weber and Jay Kahn.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
They'll need a chain of correspondence to make it really understandable as to what's going on.
Yeah, I think Jay Kahn is aware. On voting day, we talked briefly that it was his idea or recommendation that it be included in the cost and we pick up the cost of the electric. And that's what we've agreed to do, but
But now they'd like us to pay for the installation of the lights.
right.
And with that, I suggest it would come with obviously taking care of those lights.
Well, they don't want us to pay for the installation. They want us to buy the lights so they can install them when they're doing the bridge work. That's what I read. Right. It says on here, the preservation project will do the actual physical installation. The town will need to have the money to buy the lights, it looks like.
Well, we can still send it. How do you feel about it? That's still a lot of money for us that we haven't budgeted.
There are lights on a state-owned road. That's my issue with it.
Well, of course. And they tell us that we don't need them. They don't live here. They don't use that bridge on a regular basis at day and night, or see the traffic that uses the bridge.
I haven't seen the crosswalks or anything painted either. I see that I was driving through Bellows Falls yesterday, the day before, and they did a great job painting their crosswalks and whatnot.
But this is a state highway.
I know.
Yeah, they were working on the bridge the other day. One morning they had it down to a single lane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, what's your pleasure? Do you want to forward this to Jay and Lucy and ask for their assistance, their help?
Yes.
And indicate to them that we have agreed to pay for the monthly lighting bill, but we don't feel we should have to pay for the lights if that's all that it's for, or lights and installation, whatever that might be.
Lights, installation and maintenance of those lights.
Right. Well, I'll be happy.
I just don't think it's right.
I'll be happy to write the letter and enclose these emails as a part of the correspondence we've had and how we got to this spot.
Sounds good, but I would also attach the original letter we sent to them, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
You still have a copy of that, don't you, Sarah?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll do that this next week, but I will circulate the letter to you before we send it, all right?
Yep, sounds good.
Is that acceptable to you, Cheryl?
Oh, yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, all right. So we'll pass on this. We won't do anything else with it tonight. Tomorrow, we do expect, I'm looking at what we have for past activities on our agenda. I don't think we need to do anything with them tonight. And we do expect to hear from the governor tomorrow about more explanation on some of his orders. So we'll wait for some, that may help us with some of those old items that are still kicking around. Let's go on to new business if we could, please. Could we see that agenda again?
Mhm.
Okay, new business, the agreement letter for the financial audit. Were both of you able to read that letter?
Yes. Oh, I was.
Yes,
It looks and reads just like every letter does.
correct.
We get for the
Very
annual
standard.
audit. We need a motion, however, that would allow me to sign that letter, please.
I
Make a
move
mo-
to- Go ahead, Steve.
I make a motion to allow Peggy to sign the audit agreement with Marchand and Cloquet to conduct the 2019 audit and cost not to exceed $16,500.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments that you want to make about the letter? They will begin this next week. They will not be on site. They will be doing this audit by virtual format. So we'll see. Rich expects to spend a lot of time scanning, copying, and sending things to them. They've already started the audit, actually.
Does did the cameras come in at all, Sarah, or are they all back ordered yet?
They've been shipped, but they have not arrived.
Okay, because I think it would be helpful for Rich to have a camera on his computer.
Yes,
Right.
it would, absolutely. Well,
Yes.
perhaps they'll arrive with luck, maybe at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so did I call for a vote? No, I haven't. So let's vote on that motion to allow me to sign the audit agreement. Steve,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
and I vote yes, so I will sign that agreement over the weekend. The next is the Farm Bill Program worksheet that we were asked to, are we asked to sign this? I think we are, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Is-
And one person needs to sign it. Again.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yes, it's just one person.
Right. So I need someone to explain to me what this is.
Yeah, we've not, I don't recall that we've seen this in the past, but this
Uh,
is for the land along Route 12 at the back of the Route 12 that run behind the commercial buildings that is farmed by the Gowdy family, the old Ballum Farm area.
It's way back by the river where the river well is, way back there.
If you pull into the Jiffy Mart ever to get gas, sort of drive through the Dunkin' Donuts drive-in, you can see some of that farmland. It's quite up close. It starts right at the edge of their property. That's part of it at any rate.
Right. I know where it is. So what is the purpose of signing this document?
I spoke to Holly about it, Cheryl,
Yeah.
and what it is, it's an inventory form that this New Hampshire NRCS Farm Bill program keeps track of all the land that they're farming.
And if
So
you,
it's
yeah.
it's just a tracking. So
It's
they're
a
just
tracking tool. Yeah.
okay. So it's not, they're not being funded in any way by this.
No, it's just there's no money exchanging at all. It's from
Okay.
what Holly tells me, it's just purely, it's a way of them keeping track of all of the farmers and what they're doing with it. Now, it may be tied more because they're an organic farm.
Yeah.
So,
if you'll move
Okay.
the worksheet up, Sarah, you can see some more information on it. Right now it's cut off. Can you raise it up the other direction? You're making it shorter.
Whoops, I think I lost it. Hold on. Raise it the other direction. So go this way.
Go down.
Go down.
pull it down. Pull your
Pull
bar
it
down. There you go.
Wanted you to note, Cheryl, is that, no, you've lost it again. At the bottom
Go
of
down, Cheryl.
it's
There you go.
years ago, some time ago, they signed this, was signed to be a tenant on this Farm Bill cost share program. It was a 6-year agreement signed in 2017. And 3 years later, they're just making sure he's still doing it, I guess.
Well, I guess my concern is it says Farm Bill Cost Share Program. If it's just, I guess I'm not sure what that implies.
Yeah, I asked specifically, I asked Holly if there was any money being exchanged, and she said no.
Okay.
And I cited the Hooper golf course situation many
Okay.
years ago.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to allow Peggy to sign the NRCS Farm Bill Program worksheet for Christian Gowdy for 4 acres of land at map 12, lot 3.
Second,
Are there any other questions or comments about it? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Steve?
Aye.
Cheryl?
aye.
Becky? Yes, I vote for it as well. So I will sign that bill. The motion passes. Okay, last week we talked about how we should handle some of the requests. And as I reviewed all of the stay-at-home additions to stay-at-home 2, health and fitness, I found that tennis courts may be open and with these restrictions that you see here on the screen. It spoke to pools only and to the extent that it talked about pools that are part of fitness centers or that sort of place, not open public pools. But even at fitness centers, pools are not to be open for public and general use. They can only have lane swimming, and there are all kinds of restrictions on that. Sarah added to this agenda that we needed to consider the basketball courts, and perhaps we do. They aren't spoken of in all of the sports things, except that if we're going to have an organized league of some kind. If we are to say that the courts are open at this point, unless the governor tomorrow hands out some other orders, we would have to limit the number of people who could be on a court at any one time to no more than to 10 or under, and that they would have to socially distance themselves. All of those directions are in these guidance on health and fitness and amateur and youth sports. So I didn't add it to this document, thinking we might hear something more tomorrow, or if you wish, we can say that the basketball courts are open for pickup games, but they have to be limited to the number of people and they have to have some distance between players. So I want to hear your comments.
I think it's going to be hard to enforce the social distancing. I did read somewhere where they were open for free throwing, but not games. And I know that the rec group already discussed the cancellation of the youth and adult summer basketball leagues. So I think we should indicate it that way on here.
Okay, youth and basket and adult, or
Yeah.
adult and youth rather. Okay,
Yes, that, and he actually had a few other suggestions as well. Let me get to that.
Can you pull it down a little bit, Sarah? Okay.
So I had Justin look at it as well. And that was one of his recommendations, to explicitly state that the leagues were canceled. He was wondering about whether we should talk, if we're talking about rec in general, should we say no sitting on benches, no doubles, only singles, and referring to tennis? But it sounds like if we're saying 4 people on the tennis court, that would be doubles, right?
would be doubles. That'd be the maximum number you could have.
So he's saying wear masks when possible, maybe include that. And bring your own balls and number them. If it isn't your number, use your racket to, return it to whomever. So I thought that was interesting. Number your tennis balls. So you make sure you take what you bring. Those were his suggestions.
Okay. Yeah, these are what you have up there is exactly what was put out by the governor's task force. That's why it doesn't have anything else.
Right. Do we want to add like the suggestion of masks? I think we can change the basketball league to right until further notice. Yeah, adult and youth. I would maybe specify that specifically
Okay.
so that people
the
don't
way
think
this-
it's just adults.
So the way this reads with the basketball particularly means that I can go down there with 5 of my friends or 10 of my friends and play basketball.
That's
I'm
why
not a league.
Correct. So I think it should specify that the leagues are not happening, but yes, I agree with you. I think it should say, no organized basketball games. Or maybe just say, 3 free throwing only, or something that basically tells people they can't just all show up and play. Because you can't enforce social distancing in a basketball game.
And you can't really, even if they get out there and there are half a dozen of them who are free throwing either. It'll be,
Yeah, right, unless they're taking turns.
right. It's going to be.
So if you're worried about tennis balls and numbering them, why aren't we worried about basketballs?
Well, you could say bring your own, but it's,
I don't know. I mean, it's all relative, If they're not going to cooperate, then it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
correct.
I would just add something under the basketball court segment that just says that courts should be restricted to free throwing only and no organized games, or no basketball games permitted.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So Sarah, we're talking about adding after summer and between basketball, adult and youth,
Mhm.
basketball leagues are canceled until further notice. And then underneath that, we would say basketball courts are restricted to free throwing with no organized game.
Just no basketball games.
No basketball game.
Games, right?
Yeah, if you're having a game, may not be organized, but you can have a game.
That will be true when they start free throwing as well. So we won't supply any equipment. So I think they will soon learn that.
And then the other thing we may want to consider adding under both segments is that the players are responsible for sanitizing.
Sanitizing what?
Your own equipment.
Well, their own equipment, benches, if they use them, that they should know that we're not going down there to wipe anything off or do anything. Well, the town is not sanitizing any equipment or benches.
I think that's the line we want, is that the town of Walpole will
Right.
not be sanitizing any benches or equipment.
Right. Just to make it clear,
Make it clear that we're not doing that, and if they want to do it, it's up to them.
it's their problem, right?
Does that make sense, Sarah? Are you,
Yep, I'm writing it down.
know,
The town of Walpole is not sanitizing
benches?
benches or equipment.
That's right.
And the only other thing I would suggest is not releasing this until Monday.
June 1st, which is when it becomes effective from the state's point of view.
Right, and maybe it's all going to change tomorrow.
Change tomorrow.
I don't think he's going to change that. I think the thing
Yeah.
that changed from what I could hear him at 5:30 was the stay-at-home order, which probably will be for
Yeah.
2 weeks. Since he said a couple of weeks, I assumed he meant 2 weeks. And the camp issues will be
Yeah,
some resolution for camp issues tomorrow in his conference, and wedding venues and that sort of thing. In fact, his comment was, we're going to be working all night to try to get all of these things ready for tomorrow.
it's never easy.
No, never easy at all. At all. So, are there any more comments or questions about this? If we make those changes, Sarah can run them by us, but if they look like what we have asked her to do tonight, then we can get it up by Monday and post them.
Mhm.
And if you send it to Justin, he'll post it on the rec page.
Right, he asked me for that too.
Okay, good.
Good, that's good. Okay, is there anything else about that? Is there anything else that should come up under new business?
Yeah, I would just like to bring one thing up more as a caution to anybody driving on Route 12 through the
Okay.
construction area.
Yeah,
And I did mention this to Justin Sanctuary as well. The area down towards Paulstown, just after the cutoff on 12A, they're leaving it in a very dangerous way at night. There's a large ditch that runs through the middle of Route 12 that they leave exposed. And when it's dark out, you can just see the cones. There's only a couple cones. There's no physical barrier. And the road is very narrow. So I just encourage everybody to drive slow through that area if they're driving through it. But I asked Justin if he could talk to the DOT folks out there about doing something better at night
There are no,
when they leave it.
no lights of any kind?
There's no lights. There's nothing there. I went through the other day when it was dark out, and it's pretty dangerous. So just ask everybody to go slow.
Okay. Good point. Thank you. Anything else to come up under new business?
I just wanted to mention that the highway department has removed all the pavement on Maple Street in North Walpole. And I guess there was a water line break, which Houghton's worked on today. And the feedback I got from the commissioners is that they were doing a good job with everything. So
Good. That's good.
I wanted to share that.
Good. Okay. Well, this is another thing we have up actually for new business. Thank you.
This is for Hooper, or is it?
Well, you
This
were
is
gonna
Hooper,
put
I
that
think.
over? Okay, all right. So we don't need to take shit, just popped up and yeah, they put it under Hooper. That's right. Okay. Well, is there anything else? I would only note this, that next week's meeting, we will be interviewing candidates for the new director of the Recreation Department. Consequently, our select board meeting will not begin until 7 o'clock. And all meeting notices will reflect that we will begin at 7 o'clock for regular select board meeting in order for us to interview all of these people and have adequate time to do what we need to do regarding that. So, okay, may I have, we can have a motion then to leave the public business and go into the Hooper trustee meeting.
Motion to go into Hooper trustee meeting?
Second,
Thank you. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm calling the Hooper